Private Pyle, I think we finally found something that you do well.
Sir, yes, sir.
What's up, guys? Your boy, Benny. In any crime scene, it's very important to preserve the evidence so that you can hold those responsible into account, right? And so it's very valuable to make sure that you have all of the evidence gathered together and organized, and that you can determine kind of the motive, perhaps, for the criminals, and then use that in court of law to lock them up. And there really is very, very important in big-time crimes like, I don't know, attempted murder or murder, which is what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. When this man, a guy named Thomas Crooks, who we know virtually nothing about, we know that he's 20 years old, we know that he lived in Pennsylvania, that he donated to Joe Biden on Joe Biden's inauguration day, and that's it. He was able to elude the world's greatest protective service and climb onto a rooftop and fire off 5 to 7 shots at Donald Trump, striking Donald Trump in the head and other members of the audience, killing one and sending 2 others to the hospital. That's what we know about this guy. That's it. Federal investigators have given us nothing else. Very strange. Why don't we know more about him? He's the only 20-year-old in modern American history who doesn't have a digital footprint, that doesn't have a single photo of him posted online. That's it? Really? Really? Some very strange things began to happen yesterday, where we started to learn more about Thomas Crooks. We learned more in this hearing on Capitol Hill with the director of the Secret Service. Her name's Kimberly Cheadle. And she was asked point blank if Thomas Crooks acted alone. Is he the only guy that shot President Trump? This answer was quite stunning.
By 13th, your agency spectacularly failed. The failure resulted in the death of Corey Comparator and serious injury to 2 other rally attendees, David Dutch and James Copenhaver, besides the injuries to President Trump. It is unfathomable that a 20-year-old on the radar of Secret Service and local law enforcement before President Trump went on stage was able to climb onto the roof of a building with a rifle and fire off multiple rounds before he was neutralized. Was Mr. Crooks acting alone?
Again, I would have to refer you to the FBI's investigation.
Was he just a lone gunman?
I would have to refer you to the FBI's investigation for motive.
Kimberly Cheadle wasn't able to answer how many weapons were fired that day. Kimberly Cheadle wasn't able to answer how many shell casings were found on the sniper's nest, as it were, the assassin's nest on top of the building. Kimberly Cheadle couldn't answer these basic questions. But you know what? It's amazing. There's records of this stuff, right? There's records of what's happening, of course. Well, surely there's got to be a recording of the communications of the Secret Service during that time, and you'd be able to really like triangulate and understand what was happening on all their official channels. Nope. Secret Service does not have radio communications for the recording of July 13th. Unbelievable. Listen.
Does the Secret Service routinely record communications between and amongst detail?
Radio communications?
Any communication?
Email communications are captured, as well as text messages, and then depending on the detail, radio communications are recorded.
Does the Secret Service have recorded communications from the July 13th event?
We do not have radio communications from that day.
You don't have the radio communications. This is criminal. Donald Trump was nearly assassinated and took a bullet to the head. And you don't have the radio communications. And in the same hearing, she admitted, and she's now resigned as of this morning, that her colleagues and her communicate over encrypted messages. Wow. Now we're starting to learn a little bit more about perhaps why and how Thomas Crooks was able to get those shots off. And it gets darker yet. Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Crooks was visited by somebody who had connections to Washington, D.C. This is according to the Oversight Project at Heritage Foundation. Thomas Crooks, somebody that worked right in the vicinity of the FBI building here in Washington, D.C. I lived in Washington, D.C. for 15 years, so I know this. I used to actually work right here in this building, right here. That's where I worked. Somebody visited Thomas Crooks. I've never visited Thomas Crooks. Somebody visited Thomas Crooks from this area, right in the same vicinity of the FBI. Why? They regularly visited Crooks's home and work. Why? Who was this person? This is some very, very important information, mobile data. So somebody who regularly visited crooks worked right in downtown D.C., right next to the FBI building. Well, whose device is this? Surely government investigators should find out, right? Everybody's saying, wait a second, this is very, very strange. The plot thickens. Well, it gets even thicker. The shooting range that Thomas Crooks was a member of is the Clairton Sportsman Club. The Clairton Sportsman Club is not just a bunch of shooting ranges, but a regional police officer and sheriff's department trained there, plus officers from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and the Department of Homeland Security. Department of Homeland Security? I wonder what that means. So, Homeland Security investigative agents were the ones who were training with crooks. If so, have any of them encountered crooks? Could we get some information on this range? Clairton Sportsman gets reprieve from Turnpike Commission. Uh-oh. Clairton Sportsman Club is one of the biggest and busiest gun-related associations in western Pennsylvania. Is one of the big reasons Fortune has smiled on the club. This club is a place, according to this article, here it is. Clubs of the regional police officers trained there, along with ICE, along with the Department of Homeland Security. Wow. So this guy was training with Homeland Security. Isn't Homeland Security the organization that's responsible for the protection of the president, because that's where Secret Service is under? DHS? To recap, crooks used the same shooting range as reportedly federal agencies, including DHS. Cheadle referred to questions about the second shooter to the FBI. Cheadle testified that there's no recordings of radio communication. Cheadle used encrypted apps. Somebody regularly visited crooks, visited a building near the FBI. Okay, let's talk about visiting the location of the shooting. Because, of course, that's something that we plan on doing. That's something that members of Congress have done. And what exactly did they find? Because remember, the roof was too dangerous to position a Secret Service agent on.
Up here on the building where the...
This is a former Navy SEAL sniper named Eli Crane, who's on the actual sniper's nest, assassin's nest, as it were. See what he finds.
Supposed sniper took a shot. It's not that steep at all. Just had a 70-year-old man back here climb up on the roof easily. See that water tower behind me? Had Secret Service or anybody had sniper teams up there, this guy wouldn't have made it 5 feet up this roof. He would have been taken out. Behind me, you see the windows that Secret Service was supposedly in the second floor of this building behind. Makes you wonder why they weren't able to quickly dispatch the individual.
Why not? Here's the footage from out that window. Here you can see where Thomas Crooks would be crawling across the roof. Right there. There are plenty of people with videotape of Thomas Crooks crawling across that roof. That is the perfect sniper shot. That is the level 1 of duck hunt shot to take out Thomas Crooks. This is the easiest protection job in human history. This is what the Secret Service's angle. This is not Thomas Crooks' angle. This is the Secret Service's angle on Thomas Crooks. Yet they didn't fire the shot. What did Josh Hawley find out? Well, Josh Hawley found out something very, very interesting. Remember, Thomas Crooks' favorite gun range was a gun range used by Homeland Security agents from their detail. And Josh Hawley has found out that it wasn't actually Secret Service that was protecting Trump that day. That it was actually, and this is according to Josh Hawley's own investigation and whistleblowers, an additional whistleblower allegations suggest that the majority of DHS officials were not, in fact, Secret Service agents, but were instead drawn on the Department of Homeland Security's investigations. This is especially concerning given that HSI, Homeland Security Investigations agents, were unfamiliar with standard protocols typically used in the type of events. Yet HSI is the same people who trained with Thomas Crooks. So the lady Ghostbusters that you saw embarrassing themselves that day and unable to holster their own weapons, do anything to protect Trump, literally hid behind Donald Trump. Do they know Thomas Crooks? Do they train with him? Is this the DC connection? What the hell is going on here? Josh Hawley with another banger. Apparently there was law enforcement stationed on that roof. They were supposed to be on that roof. And they abandoned it because of the heat. So President Trump was nearly killed because a Secret Service agent got hot. They were supposed to be patrolling the building, but instead they stayed inside. And they let Thomas Crooks climb down the roof and shoot the president. And what will we get out of this shooter's phone?
News, a senior FBI official is telling Fox they believe the shooter acted alone. We're also learning that they can't get into his cell phone. They have it at Quantico, but haven't been able to get any data out of it.
Yeah, sure. You believe that? Okay. This is why it's so important for us to cover this. Because if you cannot continue to ask questions about these things, if you let it die, like they wanted to let Donald Trump die, then we'll miss out on a moment to actually truly expose these people. This was a botched operation, clearly. From a foreign government, not sure. In coordination with malevolent actors inside of our own government, I'm not sure. I don't know. But this was clearly a botched operation, and we need to continue to ask questions. Skepticism can never be wrong. The only way you find the truth is to ask questions, and the truth shall set you free. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're going to do on this channel. Like, share, and subscribe. It's your boy, Benny. See you.